there, I'm Beverly Sartain, and this is the Holistic Coach Legacy Podcast, where you get support in being an impactful and confident coach. In today's episode, we are on part 4 of a 6-part series, where we are listening to someone being taken through the Holistic Wellbeing Routine Program. This program is meant to address the 4 levels of well-being, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical levels. And in this specific episode, you will hear the mental level being used in service to Mary's overarching goal of becoming a stronger leader. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back to our calls, Mary. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you.
Wonderful. So, since we last spoke, what wins have happened for you?
I guess a lot of personal insights. I would definitely had some great connection calls, and I really think that the biggest win is just some clarity with some areas that I was kind of questioning, and as I've said before, March has kind of was a month of a lot of blah with being sick, and so I got more clarity, and things came forward for me, and it just I feel like much more at peace, but yet. What are those next steps, and what does all this mean? Why is it coming forward? And I'm sure you can relate to that with your business. It's just been really good.
Wonderful. What did you get clarity on?
Value kept coming forward, and in my mind, I was questioning a lot for the last few weeks. And so what came forward for me that I got clarity on is how we as human beings all want to feel of value in whatever it is that we do. And so I guess today I want to talk that through. Like, what does that look like for my next steps? I started writing. I have I guess you want to call it a blog or something that I'm not sure where I'm going to go with it, an article, I'm not sure, but it's all about value. And I'm posting a video today about relationships. And so that was another thing that came forward, was just how no matter who you are, whether it's in a personal relationship or, intimate relationship, marriage, whatever, you want to be of value. You both bring value to that relationship. And then my mind was just going in all directions, whether you're at work. People go from job to job because they're looking to feel validated, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was just like it was on a roll. So yeah.
Great. Well, let's keep it on a roll.
Okay. Let's keep it going.
Yes, let's keep that roll going. And for the sake of our time together, we've already covered the emotional and the spiritual levels. So we still have the mental and the physical levels to get through. So where do you think that this value resonates the most, on the mental level or the physical level at this time?
They kind of go hand in hand in a sense, because what comes forward for me is mentally, you want to keep going forward and, along this next steps of what that is in keeping that momentum going. So mentally, I have to stay focused. I have to keep doing what I'm doing as far as my morning quiet time, reading, journaling, because that's how these things are coming forward. So that was a confirmation of, things you've talked about for years. Mm-hmm. how important that is. And that's what's so exciting, to keep that motivation. And so I've had some, again, unfortunately, things happen in life. People come in, even the ones that are near and dear to you, and kind of burst your bubble. Like I get on a high. And through this process, I've been able to not allow it to get me down. So the mental part, I've been able to stay focused, but it's because of my practices.
Mm.
So I have to continue with that. And that's why I say they really go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the physical part is like, for me, it's taking action. It's what are you going to do to take action? It's continuing, like creating the next plan. Like, is it, I thought about this morning, like as a leader, how do I go out as this leader, sharing my voice in the physical sense to spread this beautiful message that I think so many people need to hear? So I guess that's what I'd like to talk about today, is how do I do that? Because sometimes, obviously, when I get in my head, I get lost and I think too much. So I wanted to just naturally, organically happen the way it's supposed to. Because we all have these beautiful things that come forward, but then when we start overthinking it, then we get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this timing today is beautiful.
Yes,
so
I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're talking about the 4 levels in a really integrated way. I mean, the truth is that that's why we coach on the 4 levels, because the 4 levels create just a really well-rounded approach for people. And you're right, they're very entwined or intertwined with one another. And so that's a great awareness to have too, that, you might be focusing on the mental, but then you're also focusing on the others when you're actualizing your intentions. So you're connecting quite a bit with the mental level here with what you're saying around focus and just, how you've been thinking about things. So what specifically would you like to work on today around that's going to feel valuable for you with our overarching goal of stronger leader?
I think just, I guess, to stay focused and maybe break down the different values that I can share, like different areas. Because that would be good. So the first video that I created was about relationships, and I haven't done the other ones yet. So that would be great. That would be a great start today to figure out what those next 3 are, because I said that I would do 4. And so I also want to take those, not just make these videos and be done with it. I want to create something more out of them. And as a leader, whether it be, like sharing it as a topic in front of a group, whether it be a webinar or, workshop, whatever. I don't know that yet, but I think right now it's creating what those next 3 levels are.
Okay. And if you have those 3 levels, what is that ultimately going to do for you?
It's going to put me in a position to keep motivated and on track. And then I think that I would get not only the clarity I need, but also the creative juices flowing.
So I'm hearing you say you want to create a stepping stone for yourself. Mm-hmm. And where do you think these stepping stones are leading you?
I believe these stepping stones are leading me to getting this message out. Like, it's like, I just feel so drawn to it. And like, it's part of my journey. I love the term that you use, stepping stones, because that's really what my journey has been. All these different stepping stones. And I have to interject that, say something that just came forward too. My mom used that a lot. She would say, maybe this person's in your life as just a stepping stone. Maybe you're just going through this right now because it's a stepping stone. So it's awesome that you said that, because it makes me think of my mom. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that these are all stepping stones for the next step of whatever it is as a leader.
And what's that message that you want to get across? Because your energy really went up when you started to talk about that message.
The message is, we are all valuable. And when you no longer place value, whether it be on yourself, let's just take that for instance. So self-value, that would be one. Okay. So when we start questioning ourselves and we start believing those lies and misunderstandings, we lower or lose our personal wealth, our value. We start to think, okay, we're not good enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not smart enough, blah, 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 whatever that is. And so then we feel like we need to start changing us, because if we change us, then we will be better and someone will like us, or we won't be in this like brokenness feeling. And then I think of like the relationship part. So this is how it started, was my own journey. So when I stepped back, when I was a teenager, I was sexually abused. And so as I was thinking of value, this person who I was supposed to trust took that value. Like he did not value me as a human being. And so then that led into feeling I'm not worthy. It's me. I have to change. And then when I got married and my marriage was broken, or it started out brittle and then broken, and it was because I valued this person more than he valued me. And that's how we started going. So when you value your relationship and really look at that person, whoever it is, whether it's a friendship or intimate, they become so important that you don't want to lose that value. It's like whatever it is, like, a person buys that something expensive and they place that value on it. Like, oh my gosh, I've never spent this kind of money before on this. So I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to cherish it. I'm going to protect it. And if you do that in your relationship, then they don't become broken. It's kind of like how I started this call today with the mental, keeping myself centered. And when I'm centered, then I can get through the ugliness that comes forward, where the enemy tries to break me down, because it's like I have my shield up and I'm protected, right? And when we feel valued ourselves, we're constantly wearing that shield. When you value your relationship, you're going to, protect it. You're going to cherish it. You're going to respect it. And then you don't get to that broken part. And when I start looking at so many people in their relationships, I've kind of interviewed a few people this weekend and asked them some questions about how do you feel valued? And a client of mine who had been married, well, it's still, I shouldn't say had been, she still is married. She's been married to her husband for 50 years, and she does not feel valued. And it broke my heart to hear her say that, because, and I could see, we actually met in person, and I could see her eyes welling up. And it's like, as she said that out loud, you could tell that it made her so sad. And I guess that was another validation for this topic, and how it's important for me as a leader to get this message out, because nothing that we ever go through should ever like devalue us or make us feel less than. And so if a relationship breaks up or becomes brittle, if you can't work it out together, it's important to realize that don't change who you are if the other person is changing and they don't want to come along that journey with you. Then you can set your boundaries and go your separate ways, or whatever is the right thing to do. But the important message is not to change your value. Don't change who you are, thinking that because the Cinderella slipper doesn't fit anymore, you lost weight, you gained weight, whatever it is, it doesn't change who you are and who you were created to be. That's the beautiful message that I want to get out. I started thinking of, so I have self, relationships. When someone goes through an injury, maybe they're burned and somewhere on their body is no longer looks the way they did years ago. Somebody's in an accident. They have something else. Maybe they're born with some abnormality or whatever. And somebody judges them, or this person that you've been together with for, let's just throw a number, 20 years, and all of a sudden it's like, my face is different because I was in this accident. Well, I can't love you the same. I'm sorry. You hear so many people broken and crying out help because they're like, I was once beautiful and now I'm no longer. I gained weight and now my husband doesn't like me anymore. I want to be around me. My husband, after 35 years, left me for a younger woman because she was prettier and I put on a few pounds. Then that person, that woman feels like they're no longer of value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important, if your significant other leaves you for someone younger, prettier, whatever the reason is, that's their problem. That's their issue. That's who they have to live with the rest of their life. But the most important thing is, it doesn't change who you are. You are still the beautiful person inside and out, and you cannot forget that.
Awesome. I hear the conviction.
Yeah. I am just like on fire with this. Like I can't stop talking about it.
That's when you know you're in alignment with it. When
Yes.
it's like you can talk about it all day long. You're just so passionate about it. It's fantastic.
Yes.
So how do you stay focused on mentally on getting this message out to people?
That's where I like, I do, I feel very compassionate about it. And, so like this morning, I was like, okay, so how do I do this? I don't know. Like and the video was the first thing. And so I thought, okay, each week I'm going to share a piece. I call it, let's get real, Mary. That's what I called it. Let's get real. So it's sharing, a piece of my life in a way that I know from watching and listening to other people, know that there are people out there that feel either they've gone through it or are going through it. And so it's like just sharing that message on social media. But it's more than that. Like, I don't know what that next step is. I don't know what the stepping stones for a bigger platform. I have my own podcast, so I can do an episode on exactly what I just talked about with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's another great way to get it out to listeners. So that's a great, I didn't think about that this morning until we just said that. So podcast episode.
Yeah, and you mentioned the videos, and you said 4. I was curious how did you come up with the number 4?
I actually don't know. That's just like I don't know. And it's funny that I'm looking at this mental, emotional, and physical, spiritual form, and it's like, oh, that's 4. There's 4 pieces to this pie, and I have no idea. And I don't have like 4 topics written down. And it's interesting that you said that's where you know that you're in alignment, because I've heard you say before, we don't always have to have it all figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Just start, just do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that has been this.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't overthought it. I just like, you hear the excitement. This is my conversations, like with my husband, and I shared the video with him, and he's like, you just did that this morning. I showed him something I wrote, and he's like, how long did it take you to write that? He's like, it take me a year. And I'm like, it's just, when I'm excited about something, the creativity juices just flow, and I'm in alignment, and I'm just excited about it.
It's wonderful. Yeah, and this is co-creation.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're just receiving downloads about what to put out there and share with people. And then it just becomes about taking the next step,
Yeah.
So where do you want to be for the rest of the call? Because I know you wanted the 4 topics. So do we need to go there, or might we need to go somewhere else?
I guess actually it's not the topics. It's more of the platforms of getting it out there, because I started out with the topics of self and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, okay, that I already know inside of me, like the different things that I've gone through. So I don't need to talk that through like I thought. It's more of maybe what are the platforms that I could get this message out to.
Okay. And what platforms do you already have access to?
Okay, so my podcast would definitely be that. And then my social media would be, Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. And then using that as, tapping into having them reach out to me as a coach, and for more. But I'm thinking of like, what else? There's more than that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm feeling that too.
Mm-hmm.
You always talk about having these connections with people and you share their stories. So how could you tap into your inner circle more or some communities that you're already connected to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great idea, is tapping into, I know people that, have connections through media.
Mm-hmm.
So I tap into them, and I have a list of different types of like magazines or, for articles. So I think I need to look at that and see what would apply. I don't know which one that would be, because I don't have a like magazine or something. It's hard for me because I don't subscribe to magazines, so I really like I don't know what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be a good way to. Yeah, I don't know.
So out of the things that we're talking about here, which feels like a small, doable step to you?
The definite is putting an episode on my podcast and getting step 1 out on social media. Those are
Awesome.
doable.
Yep. And then what's the step that would stretch you into like greater leadership?
Ooh, that's a great question. That would be tapping into connections with the media and magazine. Those would stretch me in a lot of ways as a leader, out of my comfort zone. Like,
I know.
you say that and like my heart comes. It's like, you can do this. It's like, rip off the Band-Aid, Mary, and do it. It's scary. But that's why I think about when I first started doing videos and even my podcast. I did an interview this morning, and I just watch myself grow and evolve because I've gotten out of my head. And I used to spend so much time trying to figure things out, and I've wasted so much time doing that. And this week, I've had a couple other people reach out to me that are in another country that want to connect and want to go on my podcast. And it's like super exciting. That's definitely another win. So it's getting that awareness out. And that's why this is so important to me.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah, I really enjoyed and appreciated when you said that your husband acknowledged how quickly you got the video and the writing done. And I was even thinking like what growth you've made from when you first started to do videos. So I'm really happy to hear you just acknowledge that for yourself. There has been tremendous growth.
Yeah.
And it's just about stretching into a little more growth, so I'm happy you got a smaller step that's doable. And then we've also got a step that's going to stretch you into that greater leadership.
Yeah. That feels good. The other thing I have to tell you about the videos that's funny, and my daughter always tells me this too. She's like, Mom, get out of your head and stop thinking that you have to have it all figured out. And it just makes me laugh because anybody that knows me knows that is. And so it goes back to the beginning of our conversation about the mental. I have been more intentional about having my practices. And that is what has created this incredible alignment. And so when I did the video, I set aside everything, no notes, no nothing to look at, just the camera.
Yes.
And I think that's what surprised me so much. It was like having this conversation with you right now. It's just pouring out of me because it's how passionate I feel about it. It's not having the notes. It's not having the script. It's talking from my heart.
Yes. The other stuff gets in the way.
Yeah.
The mental stuff gets in the way, the stories, the beliefs, the old narratives, and that's the inner clutter. But then there can be the outer clutter of the script, the notes, I got to do it perfect with this tool.
Yeah.
And all those things get in the way of your connection and access to spirit, that deeper connection that you innately have, Mary.
Yeah.
And so it's so wonderful to hear you shedding these things you thought you needed to be able to do it, and just connecting fully with the truth of who you are and sharing from your heart.
Yeah.
It's a great awareness.
Thank you for that. And I want, this is so important to share that, I have absolutely no regrets from all of those stepping stones that I've taken thus far, because I needed to go through all of those processes, and I needed to know, yeah, this hurts. I'm uncomfortable. I'm going to give up. And no, you're not, because this is just part of the process. It's getting uncomfortable in order to grow and learn. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone so you can be the stronger leader. And I don't remember what I was listening to or watching, but this woman said to someone who had fear of stepping out, and she goes, just rip off the damn Band-Aid. It's like, and get over it. And it just made me laugh, because I'm thinking, that's me. Just rip off the damn Band-Aid, Mary, and just talk from your heart. Because when you talk from your heart, you can just talk.
Yes. That's where you connect with people in that authentic, loving, and genuine way.
Yeah.
So who or what can support you in following through with the doable small action and maybe the larger stretching action?
Well, it's really me. And I'll definitely share it with my spouse. Definitely the smaller. I mean, it's just, I've said this to you, so it's just saying it out loud and knowing that you know this. And I just that's just me internally. I have to, that's the accountability part. You just have to make it happen now, because you've said it. And for the larger step, it's me tapping into the people I know, and then just reaching out. So I may be doing that with you, if that is okay with you.
Yep.
Okay. So yes, that's my accountability.
Wonderful. So what felt most useful for you today?
Just talking this out. It feels different sharing this with someone who understands. My husband, obviously, he'll just love me no matter whatever I say. He's like, oh, that's great, honey. And that's fine and wonderful. But it just feels different and more real and more powerful for me to share this with someone that really understands this journey. I've watched you grow, and so it's exciting. And so I know that you get it. And he doesn't fall in that category of getting that part. So it felt really good to just share from my heart, because I really didn't know what we were going to talk about today.
It's all there. Can I share something that I experienced today?
Please. Yeah.
I'm experiencing you valuing yourself more. What do you think when I say that?
I love that, because you're right. I never gave myself enough credit, and I was in a place for too long blaming, and I've heard from people that have know my backstory, that have said, "Oh, Mary, that's why you're the way you are." No, stop. And I believe that, Beth, for a long time, oh yeah, you're right. And now the last time I heard that, I stopped that person immediately. I'm like, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
That did not define me.
Mm-hmm.
I overcame that. And again, it's been getting sick in March to really understand my value.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for pointing that out as well, because I'm worth it. And if somebody doesn't want to be in my life because they don't like me, that's their problem. That's not mine. I am worthy. And if we don't align with each other, that's okay. Somebody
Beautiful.
does.
Yeah. You're sounding very empowered and powerful and just confident.
Yeah.
In your truth. And it's really rewarding to experience and to witness. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Because a lot of this I owe to you, because you have been such an incredible mentor in my life. And I feel so much stronger every time that I get to share with you as well. So thank you for this journey.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's been a remarkable experience that we've been able to have together. And so is there anything else that needs to be shared or said today to ground anything further for yourself?
No, I'm just grateful. I'm very, very grateful and thankful for just meeting you, opportunities, and I'm just excited about whatever those next steps are for me.
That's great. Yep. Here's to sharing that valuable message of being valuable.
Yeah.
To more people.
Thank you.
Is this a good place for us to stop today?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
All right. If there's only one thing you take away from today's episode, I hope it's a deeper understanding that people have life going on while they are coaching with you. And I think that Mary's done a beautiful job of continuing to demonstrate how she has life happening, and she brings her life and those learnings and insights to the coaching conversation. And we're actually able to use those insights and awareness in the coaching so that she can reach her ultimate goal of becoming a stronger leader. If you are enjoying this podcast, if you are enjoying this series, please let me know. If you are enjoying all of this, I would love to hear from you. You can support us by leaving a positive review so that more people can see and be reached. Thank you so much for being here. It means so much to have you here. And always remember that the Holistic Coach Legacy is a path, not a destination. So continue to stay course for your soul's fulfillment. Thank you.